Welcome back to the Goku Runner Talks podcast. In this episode, we have Rob Salazar. He is a guy that actually contacted me after I put out a message that said, if you want to run the Houston Marathon with me, I will get you to 6 hours. So, in this episode, we'll talk about how we met and also about the pacing strategy for the Houston Marathon. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Goku Runner Talks podcast. On this episode, I have Rob Salazar. He's a guy that I actually met during well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. And Rob, how you doing? How you doing?
Good, good. Bless, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
So tell people first off, before we get into anything else, how did we meet?
So I'm taking a shot at this half marathon here in Houston for the first time ever in my entire life running this mileage. And I see you recording yourself with this long stick, right? And I'm like, man, I can help this guy out because we actually were about the same pace for quite a bit. And I'm like, hey, you want me to get you some footage? And I asked you if you wanted me to record you while you were running, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how it all went down.
Yeah. Rob stopped me. He's like, "You want me to record you some with your GoPro?" I was like, "Whoa, I've never actually had that happen before." So when Rob did that, I let him record a little bit, and then of course I asked him a few questions on there to get me the marathon talks that I like to do over there. And then I think at the half marathon spot, that's where we split off, right? You
Oh,
you went
yeah.
off and did yours. And how was that first half marathon?
Oh man, it was rough. It was rough. Close to the end. Apparently, I had been training with the Nike app, and that was completely different mileage from the actual Garmin watch. And I
No.
knew I was in trouble the minute that I hit the first mile, and the Garmin watch was right. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna hurt because the most mileage I had done probably at the time was like either 8 or 9 miles. And then
Yeah.
probably around 11, my legs just started locking up at the end. And yeah, it was some folks on the side that kind of, gave me the pep talks that kind of keep on pushing because both of my legs were completely cramped up. And yeah, got through it. And I actually told myself, yeah, okay, we got that out of the way, got that done under my belt. I'll never race another long race again.
That's why I always say runners are the biggest liars because after a race, after anything, you're always like, that's as far as I'll go. I'll never run this again. This is the last one. And I actually had somebody on the podcast. They told me their friend did their last marathon at the age of 40, and she actually told the truth. Like she's never done another marathon. So I was like, that's the first person that didn't
Wow.
lie as a runner.
Wow.
But as a runner, we want to hear your runner story and how did it all start? Were you athletic when you were growing up? What was that? What was that? How did running start for you?
No, not really. I mean, I've always been like a hefty kid growing up. My mom always fed me well, and I wasn't as active as I probably needed to be.
Mhm.
And I want to say I never even got into running, even my adult life. And I want to say I was always into heavy lifting and things of that nature.
Mhm.
So I ended up putting on some good weight after I got, a little injury going on in my back. And family, growing a family, things of that nature, you kind of get away from, making excuses as to why you can't get after it anymore and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And I was up to a point where I was like pushing good 375 at
Wow.
one point, and then COVID kind of hit and gave us all a scare with, hey, diabetes, high blood pressure, those are the targets. Do something to change that. So we ended up getting a Peloton bike, and wasn't able to finish a 15-minute ride when we first got it, and got addicted to that whole thing. Dropped a lot of weight that way. I was working with a good buddy of mine, Dane Hayton, out there at a company called Tenaris, and he actually signed me up for this half marathon after seeing kind of like me, dedicating myself to health for a better part of a year, and I didn't know that I was going to be signed up for it. So he kind of just threw me into the fire and said, "Hey, you got a year to prep for it." So just, you know, put a game plan together. I ended up training for that year, and it got me up to that mileage because was literally going from couch to a half marathon. So that was the beginning of it all.
So you said you were lifting weights initially. That's where it all started. Your fitness journey was basically in the gym. But were you
For
powerlifting?
sure,
What
for
were you
sure.
doing?
Yeah.
Bodybuilding kind of things?
No, it was powerlifting. It was purely on weights, trying
Yeah,
to, press as much as possible, things of that nature. It wasn't really at all. I mean, any kind of running that I ever did was probably about a 5 minute warm up before lifting. That was
yeah,
the
yeah,
extent.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's whenever you're in the gym, it's like any type of aerobic activity is like you're gonna lose weight. I mean, you're gonna lose muscle. You're
Right.
gonna lose all the gains. It's like so
Right.
you
Right.
don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I also found that like a lot of people that I talked to on this podcast have started their running journey post COVID or during COVID. A lot of bad things came from COVID, of course, everything that came with that. But I
Right.
feel like the running surge has also came because of it, COVID, because
No
it's
doubt.
brought a lot of new runners like yourself.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, and I've always kind of lived my life like that, as taking the absolute worst that you can be handed in the worst situations, things of that nature, and just try to see the silver lining in it. So we made the best out of it, got after it. Here at home, my wife joined me on this journey, and
Mhm.
she's been hitting crazy numbers on the bike herself and things of that nature. So we both kind of hopped on this whole fitness journey from then.
So is your wife a runner as well? And
Yeah, she's actually gotten into it herself too. So we ended up adding a Peloton tread
oh wow,
to the setup. So yeah, I mean
man, those are nice. Those Peloton treads are pretty fancy.
it's awesome. So having both the bike and the tread has been a huge blessing for us. So yeah,
So on the Pelotons, do you guys use the classes? Are you subscribe to all that?
yeah. So they even had that's kind of like the program that I use to even get me ready for the half marathon. They have um, this whole program that they designed for folks to sign up for a full marathon, things of that nature. I ended up using just half of the program because I was going for a half marathon back then. And yeah, I mean it's a whole program they put together with stretches, strength training, runs mixed all throughout, and it's a 12-week um, program, and they have like different setups for it. So it's like session one is 12 weeks, session two is another 12 weeks, and the third session is another 12 weeks to get you up to that mileage.
Wow, yeah, that sounds pretty good. So Peloton, do you find yourself more of a, treadmill runner than running on the roads? I know we talked about stuff we'll talk about later, but you told me you were. I run on the treadmill a lot now too because I have one. And it's just so easy to get on it and not worry about weather conditions or anything else.
That's really the only reason why I'll utilize it, right? So if I don't want to get my shoes all cruddy, right? If it's raining crazy outside, things of that nature, that's when I'll hop on there. But here lately, the only reason I'm using it now, I typically love being outdoors for the
Mhm.
run. But yeah, the only reason I'm utilizing now is purely on being locked in on the pace for our adventure coming up here. So.
Yeah. Okay. So since you brought it up, we Rob, I think did you I don't know who came up to who, but I think I said I was gonna try to pay some people for the marathon. Or did you see that? Or I don't know
I saw,
whose
yeah, I
idea it
saw your
was.
post. I think I saw one of your posts where you were talking about that you were going to end up doing it and that you were trying to pace folks and things of that nature. And I was like, man, I would love to have that because I know that you've done several and have several under your belt. I'm just trying to get one, right? I'm trying to
Yeah,
get my
yeah.
first.
Yeah. So Rob did he messaged me and he's like, let's try to get this sub 6 hour finisher official time. That's what we really want, the official time.
Yeah.
So I came up with a plan and we've been trying to follow it as close as possible. And even myself, I'm 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 pretty confident that I could get it, but I don't know if my legs are like in my mind I am. But I will get you there, Rob, if you follow me. I don't want to be the guy. I want to tell you the truth. So I still got a ways to go in for me to get there, but I think we could do it. Right now our pacing is a minute 15 of running and uh, 30 seconds of walking. Right,
I've been doing 45 seconds,
45.
but
Okay,
I
yeah,
feel like
45 seconds.
I'm good for 40 because I feel like 40 seconds
It's
is
too
probably,
long.
yeah, 40 seconds, like
Yeah,
my heart rate's come down already, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And I feel like because we've been doing it on the treadmill a lot too. Like I think that was the issue with you and I, because when you're running on the road, it's your paces are going to be kind of up and down. It's not going to
All
be
over the
set
place. Yeah,
like a treadmill. Yeah, so a treadmill,
all over the
I think it's
place.
harder to get the pace that we want to get when we're trying to get on the treadmill, right?
For sure, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I caught myself. I've been trying to practice it a few times. I keep catching myself, going 9, 10 minute miles for the run,
Yeah,
and then sometimes long going way slow, and I'm looking at it, and it's almost at a 12, right? And I'm like, what in the world? So I can't
yeah.
get a good feel for it just yet, but
But I still think that if we are going a little bit faster, that's good. But we'll definitely slow down towards the end. Like the first 8, 10, probably 8 to 8, probably all the way up to the half marathon split will feel good. And then once all those half marathons leave us, like after you left me during that marathon, it was a crap show. So it gets lonely, but we'll have each other there to talk to, and hopefully a few other people. So if you guys do want to join us, if you guys are listening to this, you can join Rob and myself, and we're gonna do our best to do sub 6.
for sure, for sure. What is it? What about your nutrition? What does that look like for you?
So nutrition wise, I do take a like a some type of goo or gel. I like science and sports, so I get that 45 minutes before, and then every 45 minutes for the race, I'm taking a gel. So it's a lot of gels to carry. That's why you wear a what's it called, a hydration vest too, right? Didn't you
Yeah,
wear one for the half?
yeah. So I sweat so much and I lose so much salt that
Yeah.
I have to keep up with it and I have to pound salt like crazy. So I couldn't really rely on products that I was purchasing. So I ended up coming up with my own because my wife actually is the elderberry angel, right? And she makes
Uh,
elderberry syrup. So I
okay.
ended up piecing that together with all the ingredients that come in, and entail with that, along with some pure maple syrup organic from
Yeah.
Ohio. Threw some Himalayan salt in there, and we call it
Wow.
Angel Fuel. And
Nice.
essentially, in a 16-ounce bottle, I'll get 1,500 calories. I'll get 369 grams of carbs, purely sugar, 1,800 milligrams of sodium, 1,200 milligrams of potassium, some iron in there as well, and calcium. And that is what I actually use as like my fuel. And I actually stick them into these little uh, these little rubber flasks, right?
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I end up freezing these, and I can just literally squeeze out the goo out of it, right?
Wow.
So that's what I'm going to be utilizing, as well as I am going to have the hydration vest on as well, and I'm sticking purely the stuff called I think it's a version of None, but it's called
Mhm.
Zyn, right? So yeah, Zym.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do, a combination of that, and let's see
So
if
are
that.
you gonna you're not gonna take any on course hydration or nutrition or?
I'm going to take everything that they have because that
Yeah.
half marathon, I ended up not touching any of that fuel, and I was
Uh-huh.
out by, like, mile 8. I was
Wow.
completely out of stuff, and then after mile 8, there's very little out there now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, folks have beer and things things of that nature, but that's not gonna help me out, so, yeah, I was stuck in a bad way, not taking on the Encore's nutrition, so but, yeah, for sure, I'll take anything that they have.
So how do you portion that out? You're just taking a little bit at a time, or like one squeeze? Do you know about
Yeah,
what portion?
yeah, so
That's cool.
essentially
I love that because I was using what's it called, that Spring Energy, and they lied about all the nutrition facts. So
I saw your
they
post
said,
on that. Yeah,
yeah, they said
I
there was
can't trust.
180 calories and there's only 30 calories that we got. So it was $5 a pack. So they were
Ridiculous.
expensive. I was spending hundreds of dollars on them. So I was pissed. So
Yeah.
I've been looking at like eating like the Nerd gummy clusters and
Oh, so
and
you're looking at
everything
Dr.
else.
Tommy then.
Yeah, I'm like, screw everything. I don't
Right?
trust the industry anymore.
For sure, for sure. No, I'll send you a bottle of this so you can try it out in your next long run. See if you like it or not. But yeah, for me, I love the sweet and saltiness of it. But yeah, I really couldn't trust, what's out there, and it makes me feel good. I mean, it's stuff that like just completely gives me pep, but at the same
Yeah,
time, it keeps up with the amount of salt that I need, right?
yeah.
And I know there's several folks out there that kind of have the same struggles as me, so that's why we kind of put it together, right?
So you just squirt a little bit every mile or so.
No, so I ended up doing it every 3 miles, and I'll
Uh
take two solid, I guess, squeezes out of
huh.
the little flask, and
Uh,
essentially one of these, which is 5 ounces, will last me a good 6 miles,
okay.
right? So I
Okay.
can get two uses out of it with the amount that I take in.
So are you going
So
to be having like your wife on the course to replenish your supply, or
no, I'll have everything on me.
you just have everything on you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that. Yeah, it's even I was because our plan when we are going to stop for, because I want to stop for the water breaks too.
for
Uh,
sure.
so we're not going to run through those, but I think our plan should be to slow down a little bit. But as soon as we get our nutrition in, we gotta. If it's a run time, we need to get back to running. But if it's a walk
Yeah,
time, we can continue walking. So
yeah, for sure.
there's a lot of things. How nervous are you about the marathon coming up?
Oh my gosh, every long run, I'm thinking, okay, so I essentially have to do this three more times. How do I feel about that, right? Like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
long run, I'm feeling like that. I think I'm probably at the max. I'm probably just gonna do a 20. So I'll do that
Mhm.
soon. I'm doing 15 this week, and I'll probably do a 20 before it's all said and done. And I think, six more, I can get through that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably.
Well, some people they want to do the distance beforehand. I think doing 20 is good, especially for your first one. It's good enough. I think after my first marathon, I never ran a 20 miler for a marathon after that. But I was a lot younger, of course. But still, I just never saw the point of it because they do say that only three you should only train for 3 hours, and after 3 hours your body doesn't get the benefit of training after that. So, I mean,
Right.
for 3 hours for me, I'm not going that far. That's probably only like 12 miles, right? So,
Yeah.
it's a lot different for us. So, and for your long runs, what's your pace for that? Are you sticking to that 12 minute or 13 minute? What are you doing?
I have been doing slower, but
Hmm.
this midweek run where I practice marathon pace, I'm not doing more than an hour, but I try
Hmm.
to hang out at about an hour, but that I'm actually practicing the actual pace. For the
Yeah,
long
yeah,
runs, I'm doing slower. So I'm doing probably combined, 13 and a
yeah,
half to 14. So I'm just really trying about getting my feet and my body used to the amount of mileage, not
yeah,
so
yeah,
much speed. I feel like the speed I can get from, just the energy that day and being on the course and the folks out in the sidelines and things of that nature. But I'm essentially just on the long runs. I'm trying to practice the amount of distance that I'm going to be exposed to and practicing my nutrition.
yeah, yeah. That's important. Nutrition, and just getting those miles on your legs. It's not so much about your pace for those long runs, and I think you're training smart. And so, why did you choose the Houston Marathon as your first marathon?
Well, I did the half, and I loved the amount of folks out there. I ended up trying to do the Woodlands Marathon.
Uh huh.
I think it was last year, and I actually went into that with an injury, and I was like,
Okay.
I had invested a lot of training into it, so I'm like, let's just give it a go. Let's see if we can make it happen. And there wasn't enough ibuprofen to get me through that. I had to shut that down. I mean, it was a huge push to even make it to the halfway point,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was literally coming off out of a boot to be able to do that. So,
Man.
um,
The Woodlands is a hard race. I mean, especially for us flatlanders, it's a little bit. I think the Houston Marathon's easier than the Woodlands. Woodlands is tough because it's two loops. There's a little bit more hills. There's not as much spectators out there as
that
well. Yeah,
yes, the
right.
spectators. I mean, I was already feeling it, but my buddy ended up doing it the full, and he was like, "It is completely abandoned." He's
Uh
like,
huh. Yep.
"Now 17 plus." I felt
Yep.
like Am I even going the right way? He's like, I was by myself. He's like, and some folks were coming out of their homes and telling me, "Yeah, you're still going the right way."
That's
But
funny.
yeah, I mean, I think that's why I wanted to make Houston my first
Yeah.
marathon, my first full marathon, because I think that plays a huge part in it.
Yeah,
If I,
it's
I honestly don't think I would have been able to finish that half had and I had that support there on the sidelines. I was literally on the phone trying to call my wife, and my phone died, so I didn't have that out because I literally couldn't take a step. I mean, it was both
wow,
legs, both quads had locked up. I mean,
wow.
I couldn't even move, right? But
So there's people on the side they were cheering you on and telling you to keep going. Is that what
yeah, so
they
they saw
pushed
my
you?
name on my bib, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, just them saying, "Hey, just take it easy, stretch out for a little bit. You know, you're almost there. Don't shut it down now. You're too close." Things of that nature, right? So
Uh,
that was awesome.
so the Woodlands, you DNF that one? Is that what
I
happened?
did, I did,
You
yeah,
DNF. So
yep,
this Houston Marathon is going to be a redemption run, and
for sure.
yeah, I'm excited. I think 6 hours is doable. It's a 13:44 pace. We are going to be run walking, like we said. And what do you think about the run walk? You weren't doing that beforehand, right? You were just
No, so
yeah.
it's taken a lot to get accustomed to it.
Hmm.
When I first tried it, I felt confused as to why would we try this, right? Because I felt like my legs are asking, "Why are you slowing down?" And then now we've got to pick it up again, and they would feel kind of like tight to get back going. But
Hmm.
now that I've actually taken for a spin for quite a bit, a few times, I'm starting to understand, right? So I think
Yeah,
overall, the wear and tear with the amount of mileage is less because you're
yeah,
taking that small break like that.
right.
It just takes your legs and your mind, I think, more than anything, to get accustomed to slowing down and then just know that, yeah, you can pick it back up. But I love it so far because I kind of tell myself, I can do anything for a minute 15, right?
That's right. That's right.
I can finish that little interval. Nothing big major about it. So, and I think it kind of keeps you busy. It keeps your mind busy as well when you're plugging away that high amount of volume and mileage.
What's up, guys? This is Rob on the Run podcast, your go to podcast where running meets inspiration. From everyday runners to marathon champions, we dive into stories that move us. Whether you're chasing your first 5K or your next PR, this is a place to fuel your passion and find your stride. New episodes drop every other Wednesday, packed with training tips, motivational guests, and plenty of laughs along the way. Subscribe now to Rob on the Run podcast, available on YouTube and Spotify. Let's keep running towards greatness. Peace.
Yeah, so yeah, run walk. I've done a little research on it, and Jeff Galloway. I think he's the king of run walk, and also Jeff Bingham. I think he's called the Penguin. But they're basically saying like when you are running, you're tearing your body down, and then when you're walking, you're recovering. So you're getting a little break from the aerobics of pushing yourself a little harder, and you're just you're not being so hard on your body and your tendons as much as you are if you're just running straight through. So you're actually going to feel better the next day whenever you do it. And I use it for my ultra marathon training, and I even did it for a 10K where I didn't think I was like an hour and 10-minute runner at that time, but I did it. It was a little bit faster. I did think I did a minute, and then I did 20 seconds of walking and 1 minute of running. But I got an hour and 10, which is fast for me for a 10K. So I was
That's
like,
awesome.
you know what, this works. It works. It's still tiring. Like you
It is.
still get your heart rate up, but
Yeah,
that little rest period of walking, it helps. And I think a lot more people should at least try it for their training runs. At least I think it's a plan that I really like.
for sure, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it was eye opening for me. And then it's confusing because on one side, I feel like it's not that much time either. So if I
Yeah.
ever am trying to do something like take into nutrition or, do something with that amount of time, it always seems to go incredibly fast, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. It was weird. We're trying to figure out the pacing too. So I was
yeah,
like, should we do like a 2 minute and then 30 seconds or whatever? So we've been talking about that. But I feel like what we're doing right now is we can move it to 40 seconds walk and see if that works. That'll definitely get us faster a little bit.
for
Every
sure.
five
Yeah. I
seconds
mean, I wish
is
my Garmin watch would let me set it to 40 seconds. It gives me either 30 seconds or 45 seconds. And that's why I did the
okay.
40 seconds, right?
I thought you bought that little timer I had. Did you buy that thing?
No, no, I've been just purely using the Garmin watch.
Okay, I have a little timer. I forgot what it's called, but it sets it, and then I mean you're
Oh,
gonna hear it
yeah,
the whole time because it especially for my 100 miler, my watch vibrates and it beeps, so I
yeah,
find my battery dies, during the
right.
100 miler. So I have this little it's a timer basically. I'll send it to you,
Okay.
but I use it for my runs and it lasts forever, and you can put any intervals you want on there.
Oh, perfect.
It's for run walking, and I'll
Yeah,
have it
yeah,
during the marathon too.
yeah. We'll do that. That'd
So
be
I plan on doing it, and we could go. We if we need to drop down to a 6 hour pace and finish with the sweepers, we'll do that. But we're gonna try our hardest to not what's it called not finish the sweepers. I want to be at least 10-15 minutes, and trust me, you're going to if we are towards the back, because we are going to be towards the back, you're going to see the sweepers and you're going to panic, but don't panic. I'm telling you, when you see those balloons, I see all these people, like all these walker runners, they just start sprinting, and you're like, bro, you're not going to be able to keep that pace for sure. So you just got to keep your pace and know your race strategy. So I'm warning you for that.
got it, got it. Locked in. Yeah, I'm probably making a big rookie mistake too. I've been trying shoes out and I
Hmm.
can't get the right shoe thus far. I've literally tried every different type of shoe. I have like these really wide feet, and I
Yeah.
have a weird situation with me that I'm trying probably like my last pair that I think I'm going to try out. These New Balance, I think they're called Metacomp or Elite, something like that. Super
Oh wow.
comp. Um, I'm going to
Yeah,
try
that's nice.
those because the ones that have used in the past, they work great, which is these Nike Alphafly Zoom Next. Those are great for up to like probably about 6 miles, and then at that point, it's just complete pain and torture. So
Oh man, yeah, that's tough. You gotta find the shoe.
I'm still figuring that out. So hopefully, I have at least one.
Oops.
Sorry about that. Looks like I lost connection there, but it looks like I have um, one long run under my belt, at least with the shoes that I'm going to end up utilizing for the event.
So you're thinking of using those New Balance Super Comp Elites so
For sure.
far?
Yeah, so far.
Okay.
We'll see.
Which shoes have you been, you know, testing? I know that's an expensive little experiment you're doing.
So I've gone through because I don't know if you remember this, but I was asking you which
I
shoes I
remember.
should use, right?
That's a
And
glycerin, right?
I tried all the ones by Brooks. That didn't work out. I've tried some Adidas, they're higher
Hmm.
end shoes.
Yeah.
Um, the Hoka's, they're way too skinny for me. Even the Adidas wide were way too skinny for me. So
Wow.
we're gonna give these New Balances a try, see what happens.
Yeah, New Balances are known for wider shoes too, so I feel like hopefully that works for you. Yeah, because
For sure.
even those glycerins, I found that like on my the sides of my feet on
Hmm.
the lateral sides and medial, they're like that's where I'm getting like blisters because I have wide feet too, so uh, this is just whatever you figure out. Whenever once you figure out the shoe that works for you, you just gotta stick with those because
For sure. For
it's an
sure.
expensive experiment.
Yeah. So we'll give that a shot, see what happens.
So why are you running the marathon? Why are you trying to push yourself to do this?
So ever since that half marathon, I held on to that experience for the
Hmm.
rest of that year. That I figured I need to do something like that once a year at least, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So since then, I've done the MS 150,
Wow.
which I hadn't ridden a bike, as an adult for any kind of crazy distance like that ever. So I had to train for that. I
And
ended up getting,
that's a 2 day event.
yeah, so 75 miles each day. So got through that, and I loved the experience. And again, I was able to hold on to that for the rest of that year. So then I started getting into, since I had done running and biking, I
Triathlons.
started training for triathlons, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to swim as an adult. So I ended up taking swimming lessons and got through that painfully, but got through that swim on some shorter events, right? So
Mhm.
that's what I've been doing every year to try to go through something tough like that. That makes me feel like if I can get through that, I can get through anything that life has to throw at me.
Yeah, they say the tough parts of life or the challenges is where you grow and become a stronger guy, stronger man, stronger person in
For
general.
sure.
So are you looking to do an Iron Man eventually? You become Iron Rob?
No, 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 no. That's way too far in the distance for me to even contemplate. But maybe a half, maybe a
Hmm.
half Ironman. Maybe we can get something like that going.
What
But
so what's the part of the what part is easiest for you? The swim, bike, or run, or and what's the
the
hardest?
bike is the fun part for
Hmm.
me in those. But yeah, the run now has become something that I enjoy too. The
Hmm.
swim is probably the most grueling and toughest part for me because it's so much based on technique
Yeah,
rather than just
100%.
muscling through something.
No, yeah.
So yeah, that's been
There's no stopping. If you stop, you sink in there if you're tired.
right, right, and yeah, I think that's probably been the biggest challenge for me is the swim part.
Yeah, I did my triathlon and because I got a free race and I did one and I was like it's only I think it was like 600 meters or 800 meters I forget uh, no I think it's 1500 meters anyway whatever distance it was it seemed super far for me and I hung on to the kayaks maybe 20 times where I had my own
Oh
personal
my God.
lifeguard with me because they thought I was going to die out there and halfway through I was like I'm gonna call it. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. They're like, you're so close. I was like, I'm only halfway there. I have another halfway to go. But they were great and they kept me going. And that goes to
Yeah,
the point of showing that how important it is to have somebody cheering you on because sometimes you might not have that motivation, but those spectators or lifeguards will push you to go further than you think you can.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I can't thank enough all the folks that sign up to do that stuff. I mean, it's just such a huge impact.
All right. So, what else after the Houston Marathon? Uh, what are you looking forward to improving in your athletic career? Are you going? Are you still lifting weights?
Yeah, yeah, still lifting. I kind of toned that down a little bit here towards the end of getting ready for the mileage that I'm putting in.
Yeah.
I've toned it down a little bit, not going as heavy, but definitely still doing strength training in between those runs. But yeah, up next is I'm going to completely let go of long distance running and start practicing the multiple sport thing again. So
Oh,
I'll sign up for my next triathlon again and yeah, start mixing it up because just focused on one thing individually, that becomes a little taxing. So
yeah,
I love kind of throwing it all in swimming, biking, running, all that good stuff.
man, yeah. That's definitely a lot more money than I have to do for triathlon. Wait, ultras are expensive too, but man, triathlons, you got the wetsuit, you got the bike, you got the everything. Everything's expensive.
Yeah, the bike alone, right? For sure.
And then you got to have like a USATF. That's probably a small portion, but for running, you don't need a running license
Right.
or whatever it's called.
Yeah, yeah, you don't have to have that for sure.
But I think after this and after my 100 miler, I'm gonna start practicing. Try to get faster. That's my plan because I do want to get back into running a little bit faster than I have been. You know.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
all
I mean,
right. So
you're moving most of the times though. I mean, you'll have those haters every once in a while talk about paces and things of that nature, but can't let them fade you.
yeah. That's true. You gotta just keep on going. Do you
For
ever
sure.
find any haters in your life or social media?
No, not really. And I mean, even if I did, I mean, I'm making myself happy, right?
Yeah.
I'm beating my complete old version of me every single time that I'm getting going through these tough things. And now when I look back as to kind of like my first run ever, I mean, it's night and day. It's night and day. I wasn't able to complete a full mile,
Yeah.
when I first got going. So it's just completely overshadowed anything that anyone could ever say negative about me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And but just imagine, when was that? Was that 2 years ago that we ran the Houston Marathon together?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
It's 2 years ago. Then now 2 years later, we're going to be running the marathon together. So I'm
Small
excited.
world, man. I would have never have thought that that's how it was going to go down, and I had no idea I was going to be able to even find you on social media, right? I mean, when you
Yeah.
said look me up, Goku Runner, I was like, all right, yeah, we'll give it a shot. Man, you pop right back. You pop right up. So
It might have been one of those videos where I was eating all the food on the Houston Marathon course. So I am going to
right.
tell you, I might go off and like eat some food or drink something. Just keep on running. Do not slow down for me. You keep on doing your thing. I might do some silly things on there. I don't want you to lose out on your marathon time because I
I saw. Yeah, you take in all the stuff that they have out there.
you got to get those calories, is that right?
For
That
sure.
one is where I got a ton of hate, but I was like, I thought it
Oh,
was all
really?
fun. Yeah, there's when people go, oh, he's just walking the marathon. You don't see him running, but you need actually in a marathon you're eating a lot too. Like you're eating a ton of calories, so
For
you actually
sure.
are
Yeah.
eating a lot of food. People,
Yeah.
a lot of people just don't know. They just don't know.
Yeah. I'd love to invite them out. Let's
Okay,
do it
so
together.
what else do you want to tell people out there about yourself, or do you have any advice for anybody who is looking to start running or triathlon or any of that?
Yeah, I mean, if you ever have the ambition to do any of these crazy things and you have any kind of itch, I say scratch it for sure. I mean, just take the first steps. I would have never imagined that I would be able to do any of the stuff that I'm doing now, but it just takes consistency and just dedication. And then it's really just dedication in yourself. And it's something that you'll never regret, pouring this amount of love and dedication to yourself that is going to be able to be spread to everyone that is in your life, and everyone picks up on that energy. And I think you can't go wrong by dedicating yourself to any kind of long term goal that's fitness related.
All right, so we got one last thing that we're going to do is this or that. I have a few questions for you, and you just pick one or the other. Pretty simple.
Cool.
All right, so one is going to be pizza or beer. I love to no pizza. I don't know why I wrote beer. Pizza or hamburgers? Burgers. That's what it is.
Let's go pizza.
Pizza. So what is your favorite pizza out there? If
Man,
or
so
toppings or whatever.
I don't do dairy, so
Oh,
it's actually vegan cheese that is going to be on there.
are you
um,
vegan?
yeah, so I just recently picked up fish, so
Oh wow,
I'm essentially pescatarian now. But yeah, I've been vegan for, man, 8+ years.
wow,
So yeah,
wow.
so
That's
I
a
can't
long
even
time.
have any of those donuts that you were taking down whenever we were running together for a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
Wow, vegan. My buddy's a vegan, and it was hard to find places to eat. Like we tried to go to Indian places, but they use a lot of butter
Yep,
or ghee. We did find a nice little Chinese buffet over on what's it called, Bel Air, and I actually ate it too, and it was delicious.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I just usually stick to sides. Usually, if I have to go out with a company or friends or things of that nature, I can always depend on the really good sides.
All right, so we have this one. This is going to be triathlon or marathon. Which one are you?
Triathlon all the way.
Triathlon all the way.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
yeah. I can't. This marathon has been so tough mentally to just stick to one discipline like that it just kills me. I mean, I have to kind of spice it up and have some different things. But I'm doing it to have it under my belt, right? To say,
mhm.
you know what, I got through one.
So
So,
after this marathon, are you done with marathons?
oh yeah, I'm done with that. Done, done, done,
Of course you are.
done, done, done.
So it's soon enough you'll be doing the 6 stars, and you'll be going to Germany just like all these other guys are
I
doing.
don't know about your 100 miler. I'm never touching that. Never touching that.
I said that too. I said that too at the
Man, you were
beginning.
so close last time.
I was
80
so
something
yeah,
miles, right?
yeah, 80, just about 80 miles, 82,
Oh my
83. I was so sad. I'll be back. I need to start training again because my training has not been as as strict as it was last year. Like last year, I was on point with all the long miles, and this year I'm a little bit behind. Like I said, I'm ready for the marathon, but I don't know about the 100 miler. All right, so speaking of running, is it gonna be roads or trails? Have you ever done any trails?
No, not really. I mean, I did one trail run with my brother-in-law out there in Austin.
Mm.
That was different. I don't know if all trails are supposed to be like that, but it was crazy hills, rocky gravel and whatnot. So I would say I love my ankles. I'm not trying to see them broken, so I'll go with road.
Have you done any of those OCR races, obstacle course races, like a
No,
race and none of that?
no.
Just the
Uh,
triathlons. That you're a true triathlon. All right,
yeah.
and then the last one is gonna be half marathon or marathon.
Oh, half marathon for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what my vibe will be moving forward, right?
Hmm.
Once I get this marathon out of the way, just to say, hey, you know what? I can get that mileage done. I would love to have fun at a half marathon, right? That would
Yeah,
just be
yeah,
fun,
that would be
right?
fun.
Yeah. Because I mean, at one point, I know that there's going to be a band with the drums and whatnot. I want to say that's mile 7 or 8. I'd love to stop there, right?
Yeah.
Jam out a little bit with them.
So how many halves have you done?
Well, I did two so far.
Okay.
One was supposed to be a full, and that ended
Okay.
up being a half. The Woodlands.
Yeah, you know, the Woodlands, I actually DNF that race too. I think I was pacing, which is even more embarrassing. I was pacing, and then they ran out of water, and it was a hot day, and I just started puking everywhere. So
Oh my
I
God.
I thought I might have died. And then they brought me to the van, and they took me around for an hour and a half without any water. I was like, what is this? I almost died. Then you put me in a hot van without water. But anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, Rob, thanks so much for being on the podcast, and good luck on your training. I know I'll be training with you right along, and we're gonna get this marathon together, and you know let's get it right.
Thanks, man. Yeah, let's do this. I'm excited. Nervous and excited.
All right. So what are you going to say whenever you cross that finish line of the Houston Marathon? Let's go there. For the last comment of this podcast.
I'm gonna say, wow, man, you're trying to get me emotional here. No, yeah, because I mean, everything that I do is like I'm thinking back, you know, my previous self. I would essentially talk to myself and say, I knew you had it in you.
Yeah, yeah. Because even me, like who would have thought that we could do the distances that we're doing? And like I always say, whenever you finish any race, and even when you go to the bigger races like a marathon, and the marathon is a huge race, it's a huge freaking win, and
Yeah,
we're gonna be winners in
awesome.
2024.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
you have a good night, man.
Thank you, man. Take care.
I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast with Rob Salazar for the Goku Runner Talks podcast. And if you guys are enjoying these podcasts, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all those fun things so this podcast can be seen and heard by many more people. And speaking of this podcast, I might just be taking a break for the holidays for this one. And in 2025, let me know if you want me to continue these podcasts, because I want to know from you. I want to hear from you. Are you enjoying these podcasts? Do you want me to continue this in 2025? Let me know in the comments below. All right, guys, hopefully I will see you again in 2025. Peace out.